Welcome. We are muting you as you come in. If you'd like to have transcripts, you should see a live transcript at the bottom of your screen. You might have to swipe up to see it, but you can turn those on if you like. Chat is available if you're having any issues or have questions. On the screen, you'll see Emily Sanders, who is Bunny Sanders' daughter. Is that right? Did I remember that correctly? Yes, Bernice Sandler's youngest daughter, and she's wearing her mom's necklace and one of her jackets. You can unmute if you like, Emily.
Hi there.
Welcome. So cool that you're here today.
I'm so thrilled I could be here today. My sister Deborah wanted to attend, but she had some work commitments, so she sends her best, but she's here in spirit.
Nice.
But this is very exciting. What a beautiful video. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Great.
Morning, everybody.
Thanks. Can you share off your necklace a little? You said it was your mom's necklace?
Yes, my mother loved wearing bright colors, and this was one of her necklaces. And this jacket she wore a lot. If you look at a lot of pictures of her, she's wearing this jacket. So I took over her jackets and because I fit into them. And so I wear them all the time in honor of her. So I thought today I better wear some stuff. Yeah, this is a beautiful event. Thank you so much for all the work that went into this. It looks fabulous.
Great. Thanks for joining us and thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the trivia. And if you need transcripts, they should be available to you at the bottom of the screen under live transcript. Good morning, everyone. We are muting you. There are transcripts available at the bottom under live transcript. get started here in just a couple seconds, almost 11. To you, Joan.
Mr. Mitchell, that's
Unfortunately, you are muted again. There you go.
Good morning. On behalf of the Calvert County Commission for Women and our 6 community partner organizations, I'm very happy to welcome you to this 19th annual Women of the World Recognition and Awards celebration. My name is Joan Dow Winship, and I have the privilege of serving as chair of the Commission for Women, as well as chair of this year's WOW. The Commission for Women was established in 1976 by the Calvert County Board of County Commissioners. Among the goals and mission of the Commission for Women, as charged by the Board of County Commissioners, is to recognize the achievements and accomplishments of women and girls of Calvert County. Women of the World, affectionately known as WOW, came into being initially in 2002 by the League of Women Voters, and the next year was joined by the Commission for Women. Since 2020, the Commission has been the lead body for WOW. WOW, however, is a collaboration. We want to thank and acknowledge the Commission's 6 partner organizations who themselves do absolutely amazing work in Calvert County as well. These 6 organizations are the Calvert County Historical Society, the Calvert County Minority Business Alliance, the Community Mediation Center of Calvert, Concerned Black Women of Calvert County, the League of Women Voters of Calvert County, and the NAACP Calvert County branch. Because of the COVID pandemic, last year was the first time that WOW was held virtually. And as we began to plan for this year's WOW, with so many unknown factors still facing us, and with positive responses to our 2021 WOW, we decided to do the same this year and hold it virtually. Our program, you will see this year, will be a mix of live and pre-recorded events. All participants have been sent a link to our 20-page program. And in it, you will find an outline of today's program, the history of WOW, photos and descriptions of our keynote speakers and each of our wonderful honorees, and a list of our terrific organizing committee made up of representatives from each of our partner organizations. And our thanks to all those behind the scenes who are helping to make this happen this year. We hope you will refer to this in the course of the morning and keep it and read through, especially the wonderful bios of our speakers and our awardees. You will be amazed at what they do. Our theme today is Title 9 at 50, Celebrate and Know Your 9. You will be hearing lots more about Title 9 this morning, and as we call on you to celebrate together this morning, and for us all to know better our 9. But first, as we begin the program today, let us just think truly about women of the world. Women have been making progress in countries all over the world, not just in the United States. We see women in space these days. We see women in political leadership. These are very current days. At the United Nations, we see them in leadership, the European Union, as heads of government, and at negotiating tables. We see women CEOs, we see women on Supreme Courts, and maybe a new one yet, as experts on all kinds of topics on TV, and leading the COVID response. But I would like for us also to keep especially women in the world in our minds as we start today. Women who are fleeing conflict areas in order to protect their children and their families. In Ukraine, certainly. but also other places in Yemen, in Syria, in Haiti, Sudan, and other conflict areas around the world. This necklace that I'm wearing today is one that I purchased several years ago in a market in Kabul, Afghanistan. But I wear it today in honor of brave Afghan women, judges with whom I worked, who, because of their bravery to become judges and to sit on the bench and to sit actually in judgment of men as well as women, they now face threats and even death. Two personal friends were able to get out of Kabul and have been in Poland since last September while they wait for their visas and the whole process to come to the US. And now, even as they wait in Poland, we see Poland opening its doors to thousands and thousands of women and children from Ukraine. I don't know if you saw the picture in the paper, or on TV, but it was a heartwarming scene of empty strollers left at a train station in Poland by Polish moms who knew what moms from Ukraine would be going through. So that when the Ukrainian moms got off those trains after hours of walking and traveling and caring for and carrying their little ones, these Ukrainian moms might have relief and a place to place their children as they arrive as refugees off those trains. So we need to keep in mind women in all situations around the world, and hopefully we may be as hospitable to those who flee conflict or persecution as well. So as we think and turn to today, here, let us recognize the achievements and contributions of women everywhere, those who may be in the public sphere and those we see more, but those also who work quietly behind the scenes. So many can and should be honored for who they are and what they do every single day. As we hear about the fighting of the Ukrainian women and men to protect their land, let us turn to think about and appreciate our own land, especially that of Calvert County and the peoples who make up our county. For our moment of inspiration today, I'd like to turn now and introduce Ariane Swan Odom, the Vice President of the Commission for Women, whose family's roots trace back to those who were here even before this land was known as Maryland or Calvert County. Let us turn to Ariane for our inspiration.
Hi, my name is Ariane Swan Odom. I'm the Vice Chair for the Calvert County Commission for Women. I'm here today to also represent my tribe, the Piscataway Conoy tribe, one of the first tribes to receive state recognition in Maryland. What I'll be doing today is considered centuries-old land acknowledgement. The land acknowledgement simply means that we pay honor and respect to the first stewards of the land that beautiful Calvert County sits on. This was ancestral territory for my tribe. We were the first stewards. We are positioned between the beautiful Chesapeake Bay and the Patuxent River. The resources of our land and our rivers, many of us respect now, but for centuries, our tribe respected this land. And we're happy to share it with everyone now, but it's important that you know there are thousands of us that still reside here in Maryland, still continuing our traditions and respecting our land. And we ask that you be good stewards of the land as well. In appreciation, we ask that you consider things that are good for our land and good for our waterways, recycling, and many other things that Calvert County has put forth to keep our treasured bay. It is very important to us that we show our next generation the way to preserve our natural resources. Calvert County has beautiful parks that we've preserved and land that has been preserved, and I ask you all to take advantage of it. It's important that we all work together, live together, and appreciate our resources. And I thank you for today.
Thank you, Ariane. As we appreciate and think about our land, this beautiful place that many people come and really understand and appreciate the water, the land, the views, and the people. We want to thank Ariane for helping us think about those things. We're privileged also today to receive welcomes and congratulations to our honorees from two of our national representatives, U.S. Senator from Maryland, Chris Van Hollen, and U.S. Representative from Maryland's 5th District, Congressional District, Steny Hoyer. Our thanks to both of them and their staffs for their participation in our Women of the World program today. And now may I introduce Senator Chris Van Hollen, who has served in the U.S. Senate since 2017, and prior to that in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2003 to 2017. He currently serves on such critical committees as Foreign Relations and Appropriations, along with other committee assignments. So welcome, Senator Van Hollen.
Hi, I'm Chris Van Hollen, and I'm proud to represent our great state of Maryland in the United States Senate. And I'm especially pleased to be joining all of you, the Calvert County Commission for Women and your partners, to mark the 19th Women of the World celebration. Today, we come together to honor those who have made outstanding contributions to our communities. I want to applaud today's award recipients and thank you for your service to our great state. Congratulations. This is also a time to celebrate all of the trailblazing women who have moved our state and our country forward and made great strides in every area of endeavor, from business to education to public service to advocacy and everything else. Today and every day, we must take time to reflect on the powerful legacy of women leaders, activists, and citizens in Maryland and around the world who push us forward and lead with strength. That cause is especially front of mind this March as we observe Women's History Month. Congress has often played an important role in advancing women's rights and equality, and we must rededicate ourselves to serving that vital tradition. Because of Title IX, the doors to opportunity have been opened more widely for all of our nation's women. I'm proud to have worked with colleagues in Congress and partners across Maryland to keep Title IX strong, to advance the principles at the heart of this landmark legislation, and stand up to those who seek to undermine Title IX's core protections. That work goes on, and those continuing efforts can only succeed when we work together. It's in that spirit that I'd like to salute the entire Calvert County Commission for Women for all you do to advance the cause. Congratulations again to all of today's award winners, and I'm sending my best wishes for a joyful celebration. Take care.
Thank you, Senator Van Hollen. And now I'd like to introduce our Congressman, Steny Hoyer, U.S. Representative from the 5th Congressional District of Maryland. He was first elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 1981 and has served as the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives since 2019. Welcome and thank you, Congressman Hoyer.
Good morning. I'm Congressman Steny Hoyer. I want to congratulate the Calvert County Women of the World awardees for your outstanding achievements and contributions to Calvert County and to Maryland. All of you are wonderful assets to our community, and I know that you will continue to be distinguished leaders in the years ahead. I also want to recognize all of the guests who are joining you on this meaningful and joyous occasion. This year, we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Title IX, which established that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance, close quote. There are few laws that have had such a profound impact on equality in our country for women. Title IX opened the doors of opportunity that had been closed for so long, and it brought visibility to women's abilities and strength. It made it possible for millions of women to pursue the higher education to which they aspired, letting them enter and succeed in fields that had previously been predominantly male. Title IX created a more level playing field for collegiate sports so women and girls could demonstrate their strength and their skills. And it provided protections against sexual harassment to help students learn in a safe and productive environment. We have witnessed Title IX's profound impact on millions of women in America and indeed around the world who have become leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. But there is still much progress to be achieved. And I know that you will work towards those objectives of making Title IX even more effective in ensuring equality for women. Once again, I congratulate all of this year's awardees on your achievements and recognition. I am honored to provide each of you with a certificate to celebrate this recognition, and I wish you all the best as you continue to make a difference for Calvert County, for Maryland, for your friends and neighbors, and for our country. God bless you.
Thank you, Congressman Hoyer. Now, if everyone would please change their view to the gallery view. You can do this by clicking on the view button in the top right corner of your screen. And please turn on your video as well, as we would like to recognize our special guests. And I would ask that all of our special guests, when your name is called, please raise your hand and wave so that we can make sure everybody sees you with us today. Would like to recognize Roderick Lewis from Senator Cardin's office. Kenneth Simmons from Senator Van Hollen's office. Shakia Blocker from the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, Congressman Hoyer's office. Rachel Jones, Delegate for Calvert County. Earl Buddy Hance, Commissioner for Calvert County. Margaret Phipps, Register of Wills. From our Board of Education, Pamela Cousins and Inez Claggett. And last but not least, we would also like to recognize all of the amazing past honorees who are with us today. So if you are a past honoree from Women of the World, if you would please raise your hand and wave so everyone can see you. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, Catherine. Catherine is the treasurer of the Calvert County Commission for Women, and we appreciate her introduction of those special guests. I'd like to now just turn to thinking about the program that we have. Both the senator and the congressman mentioned that our focus on Title IX is so appropriate, with it being the 50th anniversary. We are celebrating that, not only the achievements of our honorees, but also this special anniversary. Title IX is a landmark piece of legislation passed in 1972 to do away with discrimination or of women and girls in any education program or activity receiving federal funding. Title IX opened doors and opportunities for girls and women, not only in sports, as some people think, but in all fields of education. If you think about it today and read some of the statistics, Title IX is why there are, in fact, more women than men earning PhDs overall the last few years, and a higher percentage of women than men in medical school and law school. It's why when many of us here today were in middle or high school, girls had economics and boys had shop. And by the time my son and my daughter were in middle school, girls were learning how to wire a lamp and boys were learning how to make an apron and cook. It's why now there's an emphasis on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math courses. But also in just more recent times, we are now hearing about STEAM, where the arts are added to STEM and their relationships together. There's still many, many challenges, and not everywhere has discrimination been eliminated. Just think about it. Read the paper every day. Think about the news. Just yesterday in the Washington Post, there was an article talking about a university in our neighboring state where over the past weekend, both the men's basketball team and the women's basketball team won their conference championships, sending each to March Madness for their first time ever. The small town where this university was located held a parade for both. The Post ran an article about both, and yet they featured in depth only the article about the men's team. And in fact, it took, though the governor congratulated the men's team immediately in a tweet, it took him 4 days to send out a congratulation to the women's team after being called out publicly about that. We've certainly heard about similar cases in sports, in the Olympics, in professional sports as well. But again, Title IX does not only refer to sports. So in order to help us understand and to help us celebrate, we're going to look and turn to two experts on Title IX. I am very proud and happy to introduce our first keynote speaker, Calvert's own Margaret Dunkle. A graduate of Calvert High School, a former chair of the Commission for Women, and a former co-chair of WOW, Margaret began working on Title IX issues almost as soon as she got out of college from Syracuse University. She wrote groundbreaking analyses about discrimination, and she testified before Congress. And with others, she helped lead the fight for Title IX regulations and their effective implementation. She has a very distinguished career of advocacy and research, and I encourage you again to take time to read her bio in the program. We are very lucky that when she retired, she chose to do so back here in Calvert County. But retirement has not stopped her. Margaret has been the driving force behind the recognition of Harriet Elizabeth Brown and led the statewide task force that led to the implementation of naming part of Route 2 after Miss Brown and to establishing the interim Harriet Elizabeth Brown Community Center. She continues to lead the effort for the development of the permanent Harriet Elizabeth Brown Community Center in Prince Frederick. And you will be seeing and hearing more from her on that now and in the days to come. So it's no wonder that in 2012, Margaret was honored to be inducted into the Maryland's Women's Hall of Fame. I'm very happy to introduce Margaret. Welcome, Margaret.
Title IX at 50. Each of us has a story. This is mine. A few days after Title IX became law in 1972, I found myself in the eye of that hurricane. Perhaps appropriate since all hurricanes had female names until 1979. I began work at the Association of American Colleges Project on Women, headed by a wonderful woman, Dr. Bernice Sandler. Everyone called her Bunny, and she is indeed the godmother of Title IX. Schools had to figure out how to comply with this new law. And government lawyers had to write regulations that made sense and that made change. I was Janie Appleseed, traveling to more than half the states, planting sprigs of Title IX from campus to campus. So, just what is Title IX? When President Richard Milhous Nixon signed Title IX into law in 1972, no one guessed that sports or sexual harassment would quickly become the headline issues. So, just why did Title IX originally pass? Why did Congress do it? So women would have a fair shot at getting into college and graduate and professional schools, the gateway to good jobs. And yes, Title IX definitely did that. That is why today, having a female doctor or lawyer or legislator or even a priest or preacher or rabbi is ever so ordinary, not some wild exception. Now, the purpose of Title IX is simple: to end sex discrimination in schools and colleges. The 37 major words are straightforward. No person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. This echoes Title VI of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which prohibits racial discrimination. The law is grounded in the idea of basic fairness. You cannot use federal dollars, taxpayers' money, to support discrimination against other taxpayers and their children. Title IX is the most important piece of legislation for women and girls since they got the right to vote in 1920. Let's take a trip down memory lane and back to before Title IX. A college could put your application on the bottom of the pile just because you were a girl. During a time in the 1960s, tax-funded Virginia colleges rejected 21,000 women. Can you guess how many men they rejected during that same time period? 22,000, 5,000, 2,000, or none? You're right, none. Not one man was rejected. Cornell's veterinary school had a quota on women, 2 per year, no matter how many applied, no matter how brilliant. Before Title IX, your school sports opportunities were either few or underfunded, maybe none. No scholarships, fewer teams, cast-off equipment, lousy lockers and training facilities, traveling by cars, not buses or planes, female coaches working for free, female reporters barred from the press box, and bake sales rather than budgets. There were no rules to prohibit sexual harassment or being creepily touched by a teacher or another student. A girl great at science or math was likely discouraged, even shamed. You could be expelled for being pregnant while your boyfriend graduated and captained the football team. Schools reflected society, and society reflected schools. Before Title IX, there were no women on the Supreme Court. Today we have 3, soon to become 4. Back then, even Wonder Woman with her superhuman skills could only get a job as a secretary. elected representatives. When Title IX passed, there were 13 female members of Congress. Today, there are 11 times that many, 149. So from 3% to under 30%, but still under 30%. Women couldn't get credit on their own. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act changed that in 1974. No female Rhodes Scholars. Cecil Rhodes' will said for men only. It took a 1977 Act of Parliament to change that. Honorary societies typically excluded women. Even Phi Delta Kappa, the education honorary, for crying out loud, a woman's field, was for men only until 1974. Our military academies only opened to women in 1976 after Congress changed the law. The career guidance form most schools used had a blue form for boys and a pink form for girls. If the same person took both tests, the pink girls' recommendation was dental assistant and occupational therapist, but the blue boys' recommendation was physician or psychiatrist. This changed in 1974. It's stunning to think how much has changed since then. Take me, for example. Here I am almost 50 years ago speaking at Westfield State College in 1973. How did all of this come about? Oregon Congresswoman Edith Greene is the mother of Title IX, here with President Kennedy. Elected in 1954, she rose to chair the Special Subcommittee on Education. Her landmark 1970 hearings on sex discrimination education got the Title IX ball rolling. Then she quietly plunked Title IX into what became the Education Amendments of 1972. Senator Birch Bayh stepped up to become the Senate sponsor of Title IX. Now, sports was not the reason we have Title IX, but sports did propel Title IX to the front pages. Athletics is so visual. The image of strong, gifted women in athletics became a metaphor for a society of strong, gifted women in the workplace and in life. Right after Title IX passed, Bunny Sandler assigned me, whose athletic abilities peaked about age 7, to figure out what Title IX meant for athletics. I tackled the issue as a researcher, and thank goodness my research was better than my volley. We documented dozens of athletic disparities hiding in plain sight, and the Federal Office for Civil Rights then used this report to help shape the Title IX regulation. James A. Michener quoted my study in his only book that nobody ever read, Sports in America. He said my report was a model of restraint, persuasion, and good sense, but it also has a sharp bite. I actually want that on my tombstone. Bunny Sandler also somehow convinced everyone, including me, that I, then the youngest person in the room, should become the first chair of the National Coalition for Women and Girls in Education. And here I am in 1975, lighting candles for Title IX's 3rd birthday party on Capitol Hill, just as the Title IX regulation was becoming final. We have made enormous progress. In 1972, when Title IX became law, there were fewer female college presidents than there were whooping cranes, if you did not count the nuns who headed Catholic women's colleges. During the Vietnam War, Harvard President Nathan Pusey was asked what the draft meant for Harvard's graduate programs. His reply, "We shall be left with the blind, the lame, and the women." But we have not yet reached Title IX's promise. Today, there are still fewer girls playing high school sports than there were boys 50 years ago when Title IX became law. And some people still think sexual harassment is just boys being boys. And yet, Title IX has fundamentally changed our society for the better. My mentor, Bunny Sandler, made everyone a better version of themselves. I learned from her that I could be more, do more, make more of a difference than I ever dreamed. And you can too. God bless this WOW event, and God bless you, Title IX.
Thank you, Margaret. You provided us with both a firsthand historical experience about Title IX and a challenge for today. I know people may have questions, and I do want to encourage you to stop by our breakout room number 11 at the end of the program so that you can have a chance to chat with Margaret more directly and live today. Now, I would like to introduce you to Emily Martin, Vice President for Education and Workplace Justice at the National Women's Law Center. In case you're not familiar with the National Women's Law Center, it's a nonprofit organization based in Washington and an organization of advocates, experts, and lawyers who fight for gender justice, taking on issues that are central to the lives of women and girls. They drive change through litigation in the courts, in public policy, and in our society, especially for women of color, LGBTQ people, and low-income women and families. A graduate of University of Virginia and Yale Law School, Emily served 2 clerkships with judges, has worked on fair housing issues, and especially has worked on issues of women's rights, where she has provided leadership in litigation, in policy, and public education initiatives. We are happy to have Emily with us this morning to share some of what she sees as some of the key Title IX challenges that women and girls still face today. And now I turn to Emily. Thank you.
Margaret has shared a little of the fascinating history of Title IX, but the story of Title IX most definitely continues to be written today. While some of the fights for gender justice in schools may look a little different today than they did 50 years ago, many of the same themes persist. My name is Emily Martin, and as Vice President for Education and Workplace Justice at the National Women's Law Center, I'm very grateful to lead the center's work fighting for the rights of women and girls in schools. The National Women's Law Center was founded the same year that Title IX became law, and for over 50 years, the center has sought to ensure that the promise of Title IX is realized. In the 50 years since Title IX's passage, women have entered law school, medical school, business school at rates unimaginable in 1972, when graduate schools imposed strict ceilings on women's enrollment. They've become the majority of college students in the country. We've seen a revolution in women's athletic participation that continues to this day. The U.S. women's national soccer team would never have come to dominate the sport and win its great victory for equal pay and equal treatment were it not for Title IX. The explicitly discriminatory policies that once forced pregnant girls out of classrooms and pregnant teachers off the job as soon as they started to show are a thing of the past. But critical challenges remain, and we are continuing to do the work to ensure that Title IX's promises of equality are realized for all. That includes continuing to fight for athletics opportunities for women and girls, It means ensuring that LGBTQ students aren't subject to harassment and discrimination by teachers, coaches, or peers. It means working to continue to protect the rights of pregnant and parenting students, making sure they get the chance to make up coursework, receive excused absences, and pump breast milk for their babies. It means fighting against dress codes that are primarily enforced against girls, leading them to be pulled out of class for spaghetti straps or leggings or head wraps. And one especially critical and timely Title IX need that I want to spend a little more time talking about today is the need to end sexual harassment in schools. Harassment, up to and including sexual assault, happens at the hands of both teachers and peers. In grades 7 to 12, more than half of girls are sexually harassed in any given school year. During college, more than 1 in 5 women are sexually assaulted. When schools fail to take effective action in response, the impact of sexual harassment and assault can be devastating. Too many women and girls who experience assault or other forms of sexual harassment end up dropping out of school because they don't feel safe on campus. And reporting sexual harassment is hard. Only 12% of college students who experience sexual assault and only 8% of students who experience sexual harassment report to their schools or law enforcement. Only 2% of girls ages 14 to 18 who experience sexual assault or harassment report it. Students often choose to say nothing because they fear reprisal, because they believe their abuse wasn't important enough for anyone to be thinking about, because they're embarrassed or ashamed, because they think no one will believe them, or because they fear that reporting would make the situation even worse. And unfortunately, these fears are reasonable. Too many school officials still believe still common rape myths. Myths that women and girls frequently lie about being sexually assaulted, or that a victim should have prevented an assault by acting differently, wearing something else, not drinking, fighting back harder. As a result, survivors of sexual assault are sometimes actually punished by their schools when they report what happened to them. For example, the National Women's Law Center represents a client who, as a sophomore in high school, was forced to perform oral sex in the hallway after school by a classmate. When she told her school about what happened, school officials concluded that the sex was consensual and expelled her for engaging in sexual activity in the school. Unfortunately, under the Trump administration, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos took steps to weaken Title IX's protections against sexual harassment and to require schools to dismiss many types of sexual harassment complaints. So we are working to fix that damage, to ensure that the Department of Education and the courts recognize the strong protection that Title IX provides against sexual harassment and the requirements it imposes on schools to take action to prevent and address it. Later this spring, we expect the Department of Education to propose new rules enforcing Title IX's protections and giving schools important guidance about how to create environments that allow equal opportunities to learn with safety and dignity. This will be an important moment, not just for organizations like the National Women's Law Center to support the reintegration of Title IX, but for students and parents and community members, because part of the rulemaking process is hearing from the public about what the department should do and why. And that's part of the story of Title IX, students, parents, activists demanding the change the law promises. If you want to be a part of this effort of standing up for student survivors, a great way to do it is to sign up for our action alerts at www.nwlc.org, and we'll tell you how to make your voice heard. And on our website, you can also find resources like our toolkit called 100 School Districts, which explains how to advocate with your school for strong sexual harassment policies and other ways to improve school climate. Students have been the leaders in changing how schools approach sexual harassment over the last decade. And when they organize, they have the power to make lasting change. This is how Title IX remains robust and relevant 50 years later, when students, parents, people who care demand the equal treatment the law promises. School by school, district by district, year by year, the world has changed for girls and women in school in ways that were hard to imagine 50 years ago. As doors have opened and basic expectations about our rights to fair treatment, to equality, have shifted forever. And Title IX is just getting started. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily. Were we able, we would all be giving a round of applause to both our speakers today. We can wave our hands to show our thanks. And again, I want to encourage you to stop by room 11 so that you can meet them both and have a chance both to thank them, but also to ask any questions. They are a wealth of information and both working very hard on behalf of women and girls. Now, I hope we all can take up the challenges given to us by Margaret and Emily to commit ourselves not only to continue to celebrate and appreciate the achievements of Title IX, from which we all have benefited, but also to be vigilant to continue to make sure that Title IX is safely guarded and implemented in our lives and the lives of our children now and in the future. At our most recent meeting of the Commission for Women, we invited the Director of Student Services from the Board of Education here in the county to join us virtually, in fact, and tell us a bit about what he saw as some of the both positive as well as some of the challenges that our local schools are facing and how they are trying to implement Title IX. So we'll continue to do that on your behalf, but we encourage each and every one of you to do so as well. I should mention, for those of you who perhaps maybe joined us a little bit late, that we are very lucky to have observing and participating with us today, the daughter of Dr. Bernice Sandler, Margaret's mentor and friend, whom she mentioned often. Emily Sanders has joined us to observe and to support Margaret, to represent Bunny, whom I had the privilege of meeting as well. And we are glad to have you, Emily. I hope that you too will join our breakout room number 11 so others might meet you. I would like to turn now and introduce our local delegate to the state House of Delegates in Maryland, Rachel Jones, who has been a supporter of the Commission for Women and who has attended WOW in different capacities in years past. She has been able to join us this morning. And Rachel, you are live, and I would just like to welcome you and ask you to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joan, to you and to Catherine and the Commission for Women. Thank you for hosting this annual event. It is always a wonderful occasion to celebrate the theme, and obviously you've chosen Title IX this year. It's been wonderful to hear from Margaret and Emily. I know that Margaret particularly has been an asset here to us in Calvert because there are so many of us who didn't even know, a decade ago, Margaret was one of the first people to explain to me the importance of Title IX, something that I hadn't thought about. I think that oftentimes we take for granted the advances that we've made as women in society and in America overall. And so women like Margaret and Emily and the Ruth Bader Ginsburgs who made moments like this possible so that we could just be able to have equal access to the same things as men have, and to be able to have various achievements that the women before us were not able to dream of. And so I thank you all for highlighting that today. I'm always pleased to be with you all. And to the 10 honorees today, the local women and young girls that are being honored for your contributions to us right here in Calvert and for what you do that makes you special, that helps to contribute to our growing and thriving community. For your contributions, I want to thank you. I know that we have citations from the entire Calvert County House delegation for you all, and I believe from Senator Jackson as well for this event. And so thank you all for being here today. Thank you for what you do in our community. And I am just glad to be with you all and look forward to the rest of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us. We'll now take actually a break from this part of the program while we get ready for the individual presentations of our 10 awardees. We will be entertained during this break time by Claire Kane, a graduate of Northern High School and Montclair University. She is a music therapist. We thank her for sharing her musical talent with us. You'll also have another chance to test your knowledge about more facts of women's history by watching our quiz, which was in fact produced by Sherry Tardio, the Executive Director of the Community Mediation Center of Calvert County. So as we begin to take our break, stand up, stretch, get your second cup of coffee or tea, or grab something for lunch to nibble on, and then join us as we celebrate our 2022 Group of Women of the World awardees. We'll give you a 2-minute warning to rejoin the group. We hope that you have enjoyed this first part of the program and now look forward so much to seeing the local honorees coming up in approximately 5 minutes.
Now we'll have about a 2 more minutes break while we watch the rest of the trivia.
Welcome back. Before we begin again, I want to thank Lily Sakai, a junior at Northern High School, for her wonderful background music for the Women's History Quiz. So now we turn to the presentations of our 10 nominees. And I want to explain that we have two groups of nominees. Our first four awards are presented by the Calvert County Commission for Women. Nominations for these are sought countywide in 4 specific categories: in advocacy, business, service, and for a woman of tomorrow. The second group of awardees are those chosen by each of our 6 WOW community partners. They join me as we as we see these individual presentations of each of the WOW honorees. And again, let me remind you that there is a bio of each of the awardees in your program. So if you haven't had a chance to read through it yet, do take some time. It's an amazing group of women.
The Calvert County Commission for Women is honored to award Robin Truslow the Outstanding Achievement in Advocacy Award. Robin began her love of community and advocacy back when she was a Girl Scout, and she learned that you were to leave a place better than how you found it. And those are certainly words that Robin has lived by her entire life. When she graduated college, Robin went and worked in rural Japan for 2 years teaching English. Upon her return to the States, she went to UVA Law School, where she worked with the Domestic Violence Clinic and interned with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. When Robin graduated from college, she got a job at the Child Advocacy Center in Charleston, South Carolina, as the resource attorney and director of community resources. When Robin's family moved to Calvert County, she worked in DC for a bit before she realized that her passion was to improve the community. And in 2001, she got the job as the resource community director for the Calvert Library. And we are all certainly better off from how Robin has found us when she got here.
The Calvert County Commission for Women is pleased to award its 2022 Outstanding Achievement for Business to Shelby Potts. Since 2013, Shelby Potts has provided physical, intellectual, and financial leadership to United Way of Calvert County, and thus the many agencies, organizations, and people served by the United Way. Shelby has lived United Way's mission to improve lives through education, financial stability, and health. She joined the United Way board as an agency representative for Southern Maryland College Access Network. In succeeding years, she joined the executive team in 2015, served as governance chair, and held various offices, including becoming chair in 2018. Particularly in 2020, Shelby led the Calvert County Board into the corporate integration process with the United Ways of St. Mary's and Charles counties, and while she served as chair of the integration committee in the fall of 2021, the three organizations became the United Way of Southern Maryland. She currently sits on the executive committee as immediate past chair. Locally, she also spearheaded the sale of the United Way House during this most difficult time in United Way of Calvert County history. Shelby's contributions span further into the community as her professional passion has been to share the vast benefits of post-secondary education for students. She has served as the executive director and pre-college advisor for the Southern Maryland College Access Network and ran programming in all high schools in Calvert County. Shelby Potts is currently serving as the Director of Admissions for the College of Southern Maryland. Before this position, she had worked as an enrollment advisor and the Assistant Director of Admissions for recruitment. Through her work as an advisor and mentor to youth, she has positively impacted many lives in our community. Join me in congratulating Shelby Potts with the 2022 Award for Outstanding Achievement for Business.
The Calvert County Commission for Women is pleased to award Jennifer Langford its Outstanding Achievement Award for service. Jen has made life out of helping the citizens of Calvert County through the work and service as a first responder. Jen started her service at Solomon's Volunteer Fire Department in 1992 and continuing volunteering, moving over to St. Leonard Volunteer Fire Department and becoming Calvert County's first female fire chief in 2011. She has helped in training new EMTs and firefighters through teaching classes through University of Maryland Fire and Rescue Institute. Jen obtained her fire science and nursing degrees at Montgomery College. She then joined Calvert Health Medical Center and has become a leader at the emergency room nursing team for over 10 years. During the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, in March of 2020, she stepped in to train the nurses at the Calvert Health Medical Center through the new protocols set by the CDC in the expansive use of the PPEs, personal protection equipment. 2 years into the pandemic, Jen is still advocating for her ER nurses and assisting them with the toil it has put on them physically, mentally, and emotionally. She also works to make sure that the Calvert Health Medical Mobile Center is properly staffed, and she's serving the community to ensure primary care and preventative treatments, including vaccines, are available. Jen is an exemplary wife, mother, and grandmother. Her children have followed her and her husband in their footsteps to service Calvert County through volunteering as firefighters and first responders. In 2011, she was asked about achieving goals in life. She was quoted as saying, "There should be no barriers. If that's the job you want to do and you can do it, then you should do it." Jen has lived by example, serving the community through the basic needs and during critical emergencies. She has become a mentor to her fellow nurses, firefighters, and EMT by passing down the knowledge and the care of heart and leading the example through the service of the community that she lives in. Congratulations, Jen.
I am Denyon T. Corley, and I am a member of the Calvert County Commission for Women. Annually, the Calvert County Commission for Women recognizes women and women of tomorrow who are age 20 or younger for their outstanding achievements and they have made significant contributions in our community. We urge you to nominate a Calvert County woman who meets the criteria. On behalf of the Calvert County Commission for Women, I am delighted to introduce this year's nominee, Ms. Sidney M. Cooksey. Sidney is a junior at Northern High School, and she resides in Owings with her parents, Ricky and Nicole, and her younger brother, Bryce. Sidney is a young change champion. During the 2021 to 2022 school year, she achieved a reputation of influence through her advocacy and volunteer achievements. She is the Vice President of the Southern Maryland chapter of Jack and Jill, and in this effort, she has participated in the school cleanup at Diggs Elementary, and she has also been a volunteer at the Charlotte Hall Veterans Center. Sidney is also a Future Business Leader of America volunteer tutor, where she assists middle schoolers who need assistance in math and English. Sidney has done great things, including through the Student Government Association, where she is the Events Outreach Chair, and has coordinated a number of activities, including a sock drive for Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Autism Project donations. She has also been a great driving force in the community behind the Human Trafficking Awareness Month, where she galvanized over 30 participants, including some adult Calvert County residents. This undertaking led to conversations about human trafficking, including statistics and how to prevent its occurrence. Sidney also plays soccer. She is an avid painter and is a member of the Northern Theater Group. She has done all of this while maintaining a 4.1 GPA. Sidney embodies excellence and is a positive influence in the community. Please join me in congratulating the Calvert County Commissions for Women nominee, Ms. Sidney M. Cooksey.
I'm Chris Banks, a past president of the Calvert County Historical Society. It is my great pleasure to present Chloe Ewald as the Historical Society's 2022 Women of the Year honoree. Chloe, a Calvert native, has family ties to Linden, which is home to the Historical Society. Her aunt, Betty Briscoe, was a founding member, and Chloe's mother lived in the upstairs of Linden when female teachers were extended the opportunity to rent and reside there. Chloe has many stories of her mother's experiences based on her mother telling her about what life was like in Linden. Chloe has been a very dedicated member of the Historical Society. Her conscientious efforts have resulted in her being elected to the Board of Directors, elected president, and appointed to various committees. She is known for special events she beautifully organizes. Several of them are fundraisers. They include the annual Spring Tea, which was recently held in the fall of 2021, the annual meeting, and the week-long history camp. The camp, by the way, is for youth aged 8 through 12 and provides phenomenal experience each day for all involved, and that's included me. That includes readings and scavenger hunts, writing and putting on plays, as well as taking field trips. I still have fond memories of trips to the Capitol, the archives, and St. Mary's City. Thank you, Chloe, for being such an outstanding help and contributor to the preservation of Calvert County history through your work with the Historical Society. Thank you and congratulations.
Hi, my name is Brian Parker. I'm the president of the Calvert County Minority Business Alliance, and today our awardee for the Woman of the World Award is Roseanne Vogt. She's the founder of the Circle of Angels Initiative. She's also involved with the Closing the Gap Initiative. She's also a member of the Technology Academy Advisory Board here in Calvert County. She's a great advocate for small business in the county, and she's a dedicated person to whatever she endeavors to do. She justly deserves this award. We thank you, Roseanne, for your dedication to small business and the community and your faithfulness in seeing things through. Congratulations from the Calvert County Minority Business Alliance. We love you.
Hello, I'm Sherry Tardio, the Director of the Community Mediation Center of Calvert. This year, our center is pleased to announce that Elaine Phillips is our Volunteer of the Year. Even though Elaine currently holds a job in the Maryland judiciary, she remains true to her roots in the community. Despite working full-time, Elaine finds the time to volunteer with the 4 community mediation centers she coordinates for her job. Elaine is always willing to step in to help mediate cases for our center, often on evenings or weekends. She attends many of our trainings and supports outreach and community events at our center. Elaine is also an integral part of our training team. She mentors mediators in the district court, as well as those she works with on community mediations. She's always encouraging, upbeat, and supportive with both new and experienced mediators. Elaine is ethical and non-judgmental when dealing with mediation participants and is one of the mediators we rely upon for some of our most challenging cases. Elaine came to the conflict resolution field via the long and winding road of nonprofit management. She has master's degrees in community planning and conflict resolution, which she earned after her 3 children had grown up. I'd be remiss to leave out that Elaine is also a wonderful cat mom. Being a contributor in creating safe, inclusive, and nurturing communities is the driving force behind the work to which Elaine has dedicated herself. The Community Mediation Center of Calvert is fortunate to have Elaine on our team, and she is truly deserving of our Volunteer of the Year award this year.
Greetings, everyone. It is my honor to present Mrs. Pamela Makel as a concerned Black woman of Calvert County's WILD nominee. Pamela is a ray of sunshine who finds joy serving her community. She currently volunteers at Project Echo, Brooks's United Methodist Church Pantry, Calvert Teacher Association, the One Room Schoolhouse, and the African American Schoolhouse. As a founding member of the Concerned Black Women of Calvert County, she also serves on the Education, Scholarship, and Youth Committee and the Health Committee. Pamela has made an impact and touched the lives of many, young and old. Congratulations and thank you, Pamela, for your commitment and dedication.
I am J.C. Hooker, representing the League of Women Voters of Calvert County. It is an honor and pleasure to present our award to Norma Emmershaw. Norma has volunteered her services wherever she was needed within the League. She has worked on the legislative event evening, on our observation teams. She has been on the board and co-president. Norma has demonstrated the mission of the League of Women Voters to educate the public and also to show and inform of the democracy of the people and how they affect our lives. We are grateful to Norma and recognize her for her many contributions to the League of Women of Calvert County.
The Calvert County branch of the NAACP is proud to present its 2022 awardee for the annual Women of the World event, Sheila Montecu Parker. Sheila is being presented this award for her outstanding contributions to the NAACP. After becoming a member in 2003, she was not satisfied with being a dues-paying member, so she immediately became involved. She assisted by taking minutes when needed, writing grant proposals, attending conventions both personally and virtually, and actively serving on several committees. During the past 10 years, Sheila has been on the annual Community Juneteenth Day Committee, the annual Freedom Fundraising Committee, and the annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Committee. Thanks to her giving of time and effort for these committees, the NAACP has continued to be a visible and a viable asset to the Calvert County community. When a treasurer was needed, she stepped up, obtained the necessary training, and skillfully fulfilled the role. Sheila also serves as an election judge in her local precinct during the primary and general elections. Sheila earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in Human Services with a focus on community services in 2007. In 2009, she received her Master of Arts degree in Public Administration. Recognizing her considerable skills, the federal government employed her for over 30 years in a variety of positions. She was employed by the Smithsonian Institute in their Personnel Office, the Natural History Museum Library, and the Smithsonian Anacostia Community Museum. Prior to her retirement, the Smithsonian Institute honored Sheila as a Smithsonian Unsung Hero. Along with her various activities, Sheila finds quality time for family and church. She was married to the late Mervyn Richard Parker and is the mother of 3 wonderful adult children and 4 grandchildren for whom she provides Sunday meals nearly every week. ME Church of Fort Washington, Maryland, where she was recently named Usher of the Year. Her favorite saying is, quote, "God is a wonder," unquote. She credits her mother, the late Augusta Montecu, with encouraging her to, quote, "do your best," unquote. Sheila has been a Silver Life member of the NAACP since 2016. I present to you our unsung hero, Sheila Montecu Parker.
Well, we have now celebrated 10 amazing Calvert women. If you just think about what each of them have done for their organizations, for individuals, and for our life here in the county. I do want to mention that in addition to the recognition and the award given to them by their respective organizations, we want to acknowledge and thank that each of the 10 will also receive lovely formal citations from our U.S. senators, congressmen, state senator, and state delegates, as well as one from the Board of County Commissioners. So it's been quite a morning. As we draw to the close of 2022, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. You have to admit that Calvert County has a wealth of talented and committed women, and WOW has had the privilege to honor many of them over the last 19 years. So on behalf of the Calvert County Commission for Women and our partner organizations, we congratulate again the 10 amazing women that we have honored here today. The commission and our partners want also to invite each of you to join us for our other programs throughout the year. Each of these organizations does a tremendous amount in programming and supporting the community, individuals, and their own individual concerns and issues. We on the commission would like to encourage you to let us know about issues and concerns that you might have that you would like the commission to address on your behalf. And now, for what proved to be a highlight of our time together last year, and hopefully today as well, we invite you to join live our WOW honorees and the various WOW partner organizations in the breakout rooms in order to greet our honorees and to celebrate their achievements today. Many people last year actually wanted more time, which we have committed today, in order for them not just to go to 1 or 2, but to go to more, because they know so many of the honorees. We ask you to join and to go to those and to celebrate with each other the achievements that we recognize today. Thank you for coming, and a very special thank you to our wonderful partners at the Calvert Library for helping make this happen. Robin Truslow will explain to you how to move to the breakout rooms as you begin to do this. Now, enjoy your time.